my fear of death.
I have that too.
Which you have, I know. Yes.
But you have belief.
Yes,
so
but it doesn't. But it's a shaky faith. You know what I mean? There's nothing in my Christianity that says I'm better than anyone else. It says the exact opposite. That I'm just like my friend Billy Joe Shaver, an old country singer. He says I'm just a whole chunk of coal, but I'm going to be a diamond someday. And that's why I love that line.
Yeah. Well, I have a fear of not existing.
Yeah.
What brought you down? Gambling?
Well, some have said it's been the ruin of me, Larry.
The ruin?
But I don't.
What did you gamble on?
I gambled on sports. And I will tell you this. You should never bet football because the ball ain't round. I keep telling people this. And so the ball hits and then it does all kinds of crazy things and you don't know. You want to bet on a game with a round ball. But anyways, I quit. I don't know why I'm even saying this. But I did go broke twice. And I must say that it was a very cleansing feeling in a way.
You're not a big fan of Hillary's, are you?
No, I don't like
Why
Hillary.
don't you like Hillary?
I don't like her in any way. Well, because I think she's the most corrupt person that we've ever had in the White House. I mean, there's so many terrible things that she's done that we forget. But there was one that, I don't know why this was swept under the rug, but, you know, she went into the IRS and looked at political enemies' tax returns.
Nixon did that.
Yeah, well, absolutely Nixon did that. Yeah, she's a
You
Nixonian
know
figure.
that Hillary did that?
Well, as much as I know anything. I mean, this was reported, and it was a thing for a very short time because the news cycles go so quickly. And maybe nowadays, Nixon, you know, Watergate would have just been a Friday night story that would have disappeared on Monday.
Biggest risk you've ever taken?
I think it was with gambling. I bet everything I had once.
What was the most you ever bet on an event?
$400,000.
Who was it on?
Atlanta Falcons against the Denver Broncos, 1990.
Who was favored?
The Broncos were favored by something like 12.5 points.
You took Atlanta.
I took the money line that paid 3-1 or something like that, and lost.
Do you get depressed when you lost?
Oh yeah, you can fall into depression. That's why I quit gambling, really. There's too much anxiety and too much depression.
You write in your memoir that your dad told great jokes.
Yes.
You have a favorite quick joke of your dad's?
Oh, yes. He said, the old fella, that's how he would talk. Sometimes he would go, try to think of the guy's name. He'd go, there's a fella named, what was his name? I go, it doesn't matter. So he goes, a fella, Bill, and he couldn't remember. So he went to the doctor to get memory pills, and they worked. And then his friend come over. Elmer, he says, what were those memory pills you got? I want to get them. What are they called? Oh, Elmer says, I can't remember. He says, what's the name of that flower? The other guy goes, I don't know. There's lots of flowers. A tulip? No, Elmer says, that's not it. It's, you put it in a carnation. No, Elmer says, that's not it. Long-stemmed, you know, romantic flower. Oh, a rose. Yes, Elmer says. Rose. What was the name of that medication the doctor gave me?
Who would you trade places with for a day?
I guess Donald Trump.
Just for the money, or?
Yeah, just to know what it is to live in a palace and have you know, thousands of people beat each other up.
And Melania?
And Melania gets thrown in the deal too.
What's something people don't know about you?
I'm a deeply closeted gay guy.
No kidding.
Well, I'm not coming out though.
Wait a minute. What are you revealing here today?
I'm not revealing anything. I'm saying I'm deeply closeted.
Well, that means you're gay.
Well, I wouldn't say that. Why would I say that? I'm deeply closeted.
No, but that means you're very, very gay, but you don't want to come out. You're so closeted.
That I refuse to say I'm gay.
Right.
Exactly.
But doesn't that mean you're gay?
Hey, easy, buddy.
Oblivious One tweets, I would love hearing anything about Norm's amazing gambling run in Atlantic City.
Oh, yes, that's what happened. A friend of mine is very smart, said, I've been very lucky with gambling. I've never won. And it was a very profound thing, you know what I mean? Because if you never win, you don't get hooked. But I had a big win. So I was a casual gambler, you know, would go and bet $25 on blackjack. I hit a craps table. I went on a gigantic run, won, you know, 6 figures. And ever since then, you can't go back. You know what I mean? If you win that much money, you can't go back to $25 bets.
Over 100,000.
Yeah. Just over.
Did you get a little nervous walking out with the cash?
I was afraid. I didn't know you were allowed to win that much. So at the craps table, I kept putting the chips in my pocket, you know, because this guy was rolling for, I don't know the game. And I put money down, and then I only had $100. I just put it down, and then I won. And the guy said, you want to press it? And then I didn't want to look stupid. I go, what do you think? So the guy pressed it. He pressed every bet. And anyways, all of a sudden, they were just handing me huge amounts of money. Yeah, I got scared. I started pocketing it. And then I remember at the end, I go, man, I must have won $15,000. And the guy goes, you won a hell of a lot more than that, fella. And I went, and it was Atlantic City. They don't escort you to your car or anything
Vegas
like that.
They do.
Yeah, you just drive into hell. When you get out of that casino, just every sign says, we'll buy your gold from your teeth. You know, it was horrible. Hey, you want to hear a story about you that you don't know about me?
Yeah.
When I went to L.A., Johnny Carson was, he had 6 months to go, you know. So my idea was I was going to be the last comic to break on Carson, you know, getting invited over the couch, anointed, all that, you know. And the guy that was the booking guy, he saw me and he said, at the time Jay Leno was doing Monday night guest hosting, and he said, you're more of a Jay comic. I'm like, what? I'm not a Johnny comic? He's like, nah, you're more of a Jay comic. I don't even know what that meant, but it didn't sound good. And so I never did Johnny. Years later, I did an impression of you on Saturday Night Live, you know, your King's Things, bulletin points, and so I did a parody of that on SNL. And I only had to slightly magnify it. But anyways, I get a call from Johnny Carson, and he wants to meet with me at his office. So I go to his office, it's just me and him. And he pulls out a whole bunch of USA Today's clips, you know, of your column. And he starts reading them. He goes, here, you take some, I'll take some, we'll read them. And we read them. And he did a Larry King voice. And if I could have taped that, it was the most surreal.
And he didn't do it on the show?
No, this was after he was retired.
Just in the office?
Yeah, just me and him in the office, both of us doing Larry.
Did you have a bad exit on Saturday Night Live? Was it acrimonious?
Well, they fired me. But there was no acrimony from me.
Why did they fire you?
Well, they fired me because there was a man, Don Ohlmeyer, who said thought I wasn't funny. Now, if you look up Don Ohlmeyer's Wikipedia page, he's a man who did many great things. He invented the skins game. He did football. He was responsible
Monday
for a
Night
lot of
Football.
things. Yeah. But you look him up on Wikipedia and it says Don Ohlmeyer, the man who fired Norm Macdonald. But I had no acrimony at all. Because listen, Larry, you told me this right after it happened. I went on your show. You said, hey, they own the cameras.
They do.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy was going to do a skit on Bill Cosby on the 40th, and they didn't do it, right?
That's right. That's correct, yeah.
Was that a good decision?
By Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a good decision. He was, Eddie is like no other comic I've ever met.
In what way?
He doesn't find it necessary to be funny when he's, but all of a sudden he can be explosively funny when you're talking to him. But he's sort of a Zen guy, you know, very calm, and maybe out of that, when he springs out of that into, you know, this incendiary, incredible force of comedy, it makes it even funnier.
You appeared on Letterman many times. I did quite a few times. What was so special? What made David different?
I think David was the smartest guy, the smartest comedian maybe ever. And there's an interesting thing. Some comedians, Larry, I feel, a comedian, what he should be doing is being funny. That should be his goal, to be funny. I feel some comedians, their goal is to be smart. And the funny is like a collateral thing. They want to be seen as smart. Your friend Bill Maher, for instance, you know, he wants to be seen as an intellectual.
Dennis Miller.
Dennis Miller. But Letterman understands, he's smarter than both of them. He understands, play the dumb guy, you know? Play the everyman. Nobody likes a guy smarter than them. That's the worst guy you can be. A guy smarter than the audience. They're going to hate you, you know?
Yeah, it's a very good observation. Did you enjoy doing Letterman, doing the show?
It was the greatest show to do, yeah. This is Letterman. Letterman's in on the joke. The studio audience is in on the joke. The home audience is in on the joke. And the guest is the joke. So as soon as I realized that, I started playing with Letterman and not doing material and going off script, you know, and
very true.
Try to keep up, but boy, it's hard. And then I did a joke that I remember David Letterman doing when I was young. Still remains my favorite joke. And then I got a little teary. I choked up I didn't realize I was going to choke up. And then I certainly didn't realize I was going to tell him I love him. I said, I love you. And just tears were pouring.
What was your favorite joke?
My favorite joke of Letterman? He said, now, this was when he was a stand-up comic, long before he ever did anything. I saw him on a Canadian talk show. And he said, I was following he said, I saw a garbage truck the other day, and on the back of the garbage truck was a small sign that said, please do not follow too closely. Another example of a meddling bureaucracy ruining one of life's simple pleasures, ladies and gentlemen. Remember the old days when Dad used to pile the kids into a station wagon and we'd all go follow a garbage truck?
You used to get stage fright, is that true?
Yeah. Bad stage.
How'd you get over
attacks. Xanax. No, I had incredible panic attacks. Now panic attacks are different than anxiety attacks. Anxiety attacks, you just get very nervous. Panic attacks, impending doom, you actually think you're going to die. So I went one time, I had a panic attack immediately before Update, where I was doing live TV. So you can see it, you know, if you look it up. And I'm just talking real fast. As fast as I can, because I want to get off, you know, and just rushing through the jokes, and, you know, nobody laughs because I don't even let them. And then afterwards, you know, Lauren was like, what was that? I was like, I was trying something different. And went to a psychiatrist, and ever since then, I've been gulping fistfuls of Xanax before a show.
That helps?
Oh, my God, it's helping right now.
You took a Xanax today?
Huh?
You took a Xanax?
This is what I took today and all.
You're throwing me, Norm.
Xarelto, I took Xarelto.
Xarelto?
Yes, sir.
What does that do?
You don't know what Xarelto is? A blood thinner. But I had a pulmonary embolism, so now I have to take... And the funny thing is, I knew, I shouldn't be crossing my legs, that's how you can get it. I knew about pulmonary embolisms, you know, and I warned everybody, because Serena Williams had one, and she's in great shape.
Yeah.
But it was from being on a plane and crossing her legs.
Yeah, you got to uncross them, walk the plane.
Walk the plane, which they don't like anymore. You know, they don't like that, especially when it's a young Arab-looking man like me. I mean, what, they think I'm going to come in a Persian carpet? You know what I mean? Like, just because I wear my big turban and I have my my dagger.
You defy.
I'm a Sikh.
You defy them at the gate.
Yeah, I say, listen, man, I'm a Sikh, and this giant dagger is part of my religious ceremony.
Are you a comfortable passenger on airplanes?
I am. I used to be very afraid.
And what changed?
I became saturated by the fear, and it stopped. And then my mind took over.
Saturated by the fear, so it stopped?
Yeah, you can only be scared so long. But my mind took over, and you know what I realized? You're safer on an airplane. You know, there's 10,000 flights a day, you know? You're safer on an airplane because nobody's going to mug you. Nobody's going to rape you. Now, I'm probably not going to be raped. I'm not a good-looking fella anymore.
And you're not going to crash into another plane. You know, they're too far away.
Exactly. But a car, you know what I mean? You're driving all the time and you see a car crash, you know, and you just go, oh, you know, you don't think anything of it. Meanwhile, in a plane, if you looked over and saw a plane that crashed into a mountain, you wouldn't go, oh, that guy helped me up a little. But people are not afraid of cars. Never. I'm paralyzed.
I don't
cars.
like turbulence.
Turbulence is,
but I don't accept the fact that it ain't going to turn over.
Yeah, it's hard to accept that there's such a thing as a plane.
Correct, because you're sitting in a chair in a piece of steel in the sky.
You know what I was thinking the other day, Larry? You know what I was thinking?
What?
How would you know? I was thinking this. The Wright brothers. Amazing, right? They went on Kitty Hawk. I think they went up for 45 seconds or something in their first thing. They're geniuses, right? Everybody that came before them, they were on a blooper reel. It's like, da, 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 you know? But meanwhile, at the time, they were probably, whoa, Jack went 10 seconds, you know? But now it's just a gag reel. And these are the people that whose shoulders Orville and, was that his name?
Wilbur.
I'm thinking of the
Orville
popcorn
and
guys.
Wilbur,
Yeah, Orville and Wilbur stood on these men's shoulders.
Some comedians, is it true, bomb on purpose? Louis C.K. said that sometimes he'll bomb on purpose so that it proves himself he can win back an audience. Have you ever done that?
No.
No.
I've bombed.
but
But I don't try to win them back. Here's the funny thing about when I bomb. I feel comedy is surprise, right?
Of course.
That's the funniest thing, something they don't expect. Now, if all these people came to see me to laugh, and then they don't, that's a big surprise. So that makes me sort of, I get a kind of an out-of-body experience. Then I make a big mistake, I smirk. And then they hate my guts. Last night, Larry, I had a long exchange with Professor Richard Dawkins. Now, that would never happen to an old chunk of coal like me in a regular life. I couldn't get a biologist down the street to talk to me. But here I am asking questions, and I stumped him on one question. Can you believe that? The great Richard Dawkins?
What did you stump him on?
Oh, he said we were all hardwired to live on, to procreate. We're hardwired for most everything we do. And I said, if we're hardwired, but we're aware we're hardwired, doesn't that mean we're not hardwired?
What did he say?
He said, that's an interesting philosophical question. I'll have to think about it and get back to you.
Do you have some philosophy or faith that guides you in your career path and life in general? Do you have a philosophy?
No, man. I don't think 2 seconds ahead. I mean, you know, I don't know what that means, but I just I try to be kind to people now, Larry. This is what I'm learning. I'm learning in my dotage.
In your dotage?
Yeah, my old age. You know.
Oh, dotage is old age?
Yeah, I'm still ambulatory, but I believe kindness. I used to go by homeless people. There was a homeless guy who lived beside me, right? I would go by him. He'd go, "Hey, man, you got $1?" I go, "I got no dollar," and be $1 falling out of my pocket. I go, "That's not for you. That's for licorice." And I go buy some licorice, come back, and the guy would go, "You got $1 or licorice?" I go, "No, get a job." Now, there's not a lot of jobs for guys that defecate in their pants.